Hello. Hi. Hello. Who am I? Hello. Hi. Hello. Hello. What's in the box? You know who I am. Queen, icon, at this point, American hero. Miss Rachel's the shit, you guys. Like, she went from toddler host to total activist, and I just adore her. It's funny, she's in the first page of my third book, and I write a little joke, like a loving joke that involves her. And I'm like, oh no, I hope she knows I love her. And it was all in good fun. You'll see if you read my book. You have to read my book. You can actually pre-order my book if you want. It's called What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Hotter. It's like a micro memoir from the last 3 years of my life, which were arguably the most insane years of my life. If you follow me, you know this. And I wrote it in real time, which was really crazy. But Simon & Schuster think it's my best book. So does my mother. And it comes out in July, but you can pre-order it now. I'll link it below. It's a page turner, I'll tell you that right now. And I hope it inspires women who are in fear or scared to get out of something that's not working. Speaking of that, if you're watching this is your sign to walk through fear, to walk through whatever it is that you're scared of. And I'm not here to tell you what to do, okay? I'm just an idiot. I'm not here to tell you what to do with your life. You can do whatever you want with your life, all right? Whatever you want to do with your life, you do with your life, all right? I'm not a freaking life coach. I feel like I can't even do cross eyes because that's probably offensive now. Do you know you can't say the term, did I stutter? Because there's people with actual stutters. But I wonder if people with actual stutters are offended by the phrase, did I stutter? In fact, I would like to know that. I'm going to test that out. Hey, anyone watching with a stutter, are you offended by the phrase, did I stutter? Let me know in the comments. I want to know if these are social justice warriors or if it's really offensive. If you're watching this is your sign to walk through fear. Because courage is not having fear, it's walking through it. It's being scared less and doing it anyway. And I say that because I just walked through a massive, massive fear of mine. So as you know, I've been making silly, goofy content for over a decade. Nothing scares me about the digital space. Making content, making an ass of myself and posting it out to millions doesn't scare me a bit. In fact, I'm very comfortable doing it. It's like second nature to me. And something I've wanted to do for a long time that I hadn't because of fear was performing live. And I did it. I went to the Improv and I did a 10-minute set at the Improv, you guys. Thank you. And I didn't bomb. I think that was my big fear. Thank you to Skims for sponsoring today's episode of Idiot. Okay, before we get into it, I need to talk to you about my underwear. Yeah, we're doing this because I've been silently obsessed for weeks and physically cannot keep this to myself anymore. I tried the Fits Everybody collection from Skims, and I am genuinely a different woman. I've spent my entire adult life at war with bras, underwires that feel like tiny crimes, bralettes with structural integrity of a napkin. Then I tried Fits Everybody Scoop Bralette, and I just stood in my bathroom in silence because it felt like nothing. It molds to your body, it moves with you, it gives you actual support, and you forget you're wearing it. I'm replacing every single bra I own, no notes. Shop the Skims Fits Everybody collection at skims.com/idiot. And after you order, be sure to let them know we sent you. Select podcast in the survey and be sure to select our show in the dropdown. Okay, now we can begin. Today's episode is brought to you by Factor. I'm a busy mom, I'm always running, and I was genuinely terrible at feeding myself, skipping meals, grabbing whatever snack my kid abandoned. Factor fixed that. These are fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and made by chefs. They have quality ingredients, colorful veggies, whole food ingredients, healthy fats, no refined sugar, no artificial sweeteners, no refined seed oils, always fresh, never frozen, ready in about 2 minutes, no prep, no stress, over 100 rotating meals every week across high protein, calorie smart, Mediterranean diet, GLP-1 support, ready to eat salads, and the Muscle Pro collection. Whether you're focused on healthier eating, calorie management, or more protein, it's all there. I use this and you should too. Head to factormeals.com/idiot50off and use idiot50off to get 50% off and free breakfast for a year. Factormeals.com/idiot50off. Yeah, so I've been wanting to perform live for a long time now, and I've had opportunities through the years because of my audience. Companies reach out to me like, let's do a tour because you have millions of followers. So let's do a tour. And I always said no. Sometimes I said yes, and then they would book the theater, and then I'd say no. I'd be like, I can't. And then I felt terrible. Now, I said they didn't, it's not like they sold all the tickets. They just like booked the theater months in advance. And then I said no. So I wasn't like letting down tons of people, but I would chicken out time and time again. There were several different times where I was asked, I would either say no or say yes and then say no because I don't know what it is, dude. You know, it could be as simple as the very first time that I ever did stand up. I must have been 20 years old, maybe 21. And I went to the Comedy Store on Sunset Boulevard, which you should not go to if it's your very first time doing stand-up comedy. It's probably the worst place to go to. You're supposed to go to some like random hole in the wall in the valley or something, or outside of LA, even better. But I didn't. I went right on Sunset. And I told this story, which is also not a good move. You're supposed to have like laughs every 10 seconds. And here I am telling this long drawn out story about how when I was like 9 or when I was a kid up until like 8 or 9, I thought there were 2 N's in the alphabet. And that was it. That was my 3-minute set. And I also thought that to be a comedian, you had to be brunette, you had to wear glasses, rectangle shaped glasses, and you had to have a super monotone inflection. Because I guess I watched like Janine Garofalo or Daria, and I thought that in order to be a funny woman, you had to have dark hair, rectangle glasses, and 0 inflection. And that's the opposite of me. I'm blonde, bubbly, loud, expressive, and I hid all of that. And I went up on stage and I told a story which I still find amusing, but with no energy. I just went up and I was like, I'm not going to do the whole 3-minute because I can't even remember what it was. But I was like, when I was younger, I thought there were 2 N's in the alphabet. Silence. Do you guys want to know what I mean by that? Silence. So like I thought it was like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, N, Z. Thank you so much. It was horrific. Then the host gets up and he goes, looks, she's a 10, comedy, she's a 2. Which it could have been worse. It could have been, look, she's a 2, comedy, she's a 2. I can't. can't. So I think that traumatized me, but I got through that. And then, in my mid-20s, I was approached again to do stand-up. And I did. I did a few showcases. I did a showcase at the Laugh Factory and the Levity Live place. And, I was doing like 5 minutes around town. I was performing with people like Natasha Leggero and just like people who I thought were just the greatest and still do. And I was like doing well. I think I did around 6 months or so of, somewhat inconsistent stand-up. And then I just kind of blew the up online, dude. And I didn't want to be in clubs. I didn't want to be around alcohol. It was like the majority men around. Comics were mostly men, at least when I was doing it. Late nights. I don't know. And I think because my goal was always to make as many people laugh as possible on a consistent basis, well, I was now doing that digitally. So I didn't feel that need to go out and grind late nights around alcohol and men. I didn't have that hunger because I was satiated by digital space. So that's my story. And, and then I blew up and I have over 26 million followers across all my platforms. And now I don't know what is going on with me, baby, but I want to have an hour special. I want to have a killer, undeniable, incredible live show. And maybe it's that I'm going to be 40 in July. I feel like I have a lot to say. I have a lot of fun perspectives around life. And I think I'm a better performer than I was a decade ago. So I just have a story to tell now that I think is worth telling. So I hired this amazing comic, Melinda Hill is her name, and she's been coaching me for the last 6 months. We meet every week for like 4 hours. I read her what I wrote. She listens, and truthfully, she's not writing the stuff. She's just encouraging me to use my instincts and trust them, which I love. She just she almost gives me so much freedom. I'm like, tell me what to do. No, it's all in you, But she holds me accountable, and she's coming to my shows with me and taking notes. And anyway, so that's what I'm doing. I'm developing this hour that I'm going to tour with around the country and potentially globally. So this is just very exciting. So, and I think fear held me back from doing it sooner. But I also am trusting the timing of like coming. It could be too that I had kids, and wasn't comfortable leaving the babies. I know what it entails to be a touring performer, lots of travel. And so now my kids are going to be 5 and 7 in the next month. So it's just time. And I'm just very excited and proud and just excited for this new journey and to learn a new craft and master it. Like that's what I'm excited about. Whereas I feel like I've already mastered digital videos from doing it for so long. Not to say that you can't get better. Is there anything that you're scared of that you want to do, but fear is holding you back? Like it's just something you need to do. It doesn't have to be work related. It could be relationship, personal, philanthropic, anything. Is there something you've always wanted to do and fear is holding you back? What is that thing? What is that thing? I think they always say imagine, there's a lot of different techniques that work, but there's imagine yourself laying on your deathbed right now. Would you have regrets? If so, what are they? So do those things or don't do those things, right? And then I also there's this one guy who I don't know his name, but I see his videos randomly pop up. But he talks about you have to remind yourself of your mortality every single day, which seems very dark, but I kind of love it. You just remind yourself, we walk around like we're immortal. Just reminding ourselves of our mortality enables us to walk through fear and live fully. Be present with your kids, right? They're not always going to be so young, and do the thing you're scared to do. And say the thing you're scared to say, unless it's racist. Then keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself, you piece of shit. He also says, live as if you have 1 year left. Like here it is. If you had 1 year left to live, how would you live it? If you had 1 year left on this planet, you knew you had a year, how would you live it? What would you do day to day? Who would you spend it with? How would you spend it? I'm curious. Let me know. Quick break, and I'm using it to tell you about Skims because honestly, I've been waiting for this. I tried the Fits Everybody collection a few weeks ago, and it has changed my entire relationship with getting dressed. I know that sounds intense, but I am someone who historically treated bras as a necessary evil and ripped mine off the second I walked through the door. I got the Fits Everybody scoop bralette, and I forgot that I was wearing it all day. That's the highest compliment I've ever given to any garment in my life. The fabric just melts onto your skin, no stabbing, no adjusting every 20 minutes, no suffering. I also tried the high waist thong, and now I'm officially a thong person, which I never thought I would say out loud. Thongs used to be something I abandoned by noon. Not anymore. Shop the Skims Fits Everybody collection at skims.com/idiot. And after you order, be sure to let them know I sent you. Select podcast in the survey and be sure to select our show in the dropdown. You're welcome in advance. Thank you to Factor for sponsoring today's episode. We're taking a quick break for Factor, and I genuinely want to talk about this because it has been a game changer for me. You know that feeling when the weather starts getting warmer, short season is creeping up, and you realize you spent the entire winter just surviving? That was me. I wasn't eating badly on purpose. I just wasn't eating intentionally. No time to plan, no time to cook. Being an idiot, basically. Factor is how I stopped letting a busy schedule be my excuse. Fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and made by chefs, ready in about 2 minutes, always fresh, never frozen. I had the Tex-Mex veggie bowl after my yoga last week, and it was genuinely the best decision I made all day. The quality is real, colorful veggies, healthy fats, no refined sugars, no sweeteners, no refined seed oils, and the variety keeps it interesting with over 100 rotating meals every week. High protein, calorie smart, Mediterranean diet, GLP-1 support, ready to eat salads, and the Muscle Pro collection, which is perfect if you're getting back into a workout routine. Whether you're focused on healthier eating, calorie management, or getting more protein in, Factor makes it easy to actually stick to your goals. I use this and you should too. Head to factormeals.com/idiot50off and use the code idiot50off to get 50% off and free breakfast for a year. That's factormeals.com/idiot50off. Make healthier eating easy with Factor. I saw this video that really hit me hard. It was a video of a 15-year-old with looked like profound autism on a boat, and he was looking out at the water. And the mom posted the video, and it said, "Let this be your sign. Don't be scared of the meltdown that they'll have at the airport and the audience of the judgy audience you'll get from that meltdown. Be scared of robbing your child of these experiences and keeping their life small. Be scared of that." And I needed to see that because I have not traveled really or much at all. And I have to say a big part of that is the fear of my son eloping, the fear of, it's not so much the meltdowns. That is not fun. It is not fun to have. I've had horrific public meltdowns on the street with an audience, no one helping, just all glares and stares. And it's not fun. So there is that, but then also the fear of eloping, of him running off. There's such a fear of running off in the airport and him disappearing. Okay, well, get him a leash. All right, so maybe I am slightly concerned about the looks. And then it doesn't help that, like, I'm not Justin Bieber, but when I go to an airport, I get stopped at least 6 times. And so now I got my kid on a leash. Is Laura Claire ever kid on a leash? I don't think I'm that important. Nobody really cares about anyone else. But just dumb has stopped me from taking them places. Obviously, the divorce, being a single mom, doing it myself. I've wanted to take them both to Chicago. And it's like the long flight with really young kids, one on the spectrum. It stopped me to the point where I have my family come out here, you know. But that's that. So we're walking through fear, you know. What else is going on? So I'm just hearing about this influencer, mom talk influencer, Taylor Frankie Paul. Y'all know about this? I'm sure you do. I feel like it's everywhere. So she was cast as the newest Bachelorette. Her season was set to air in days until it was canceled. Both Taylor and her ex-boyfriend Dakota are the subject of an open domestic violence investigation. Hey, I know about that. The former couple was ordered to undergo psychological evaluations by the Utah Division of Child and Family Services. However, a previous domestic altercation between the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives star and Dakota was likely the final blow to season 22 of The Bachelorette. And this one was caught on tape. So there was a disturbing video from 2023, which showed Taylor hitting, kicking, and throwing metal chairs at Dakota. Her daughter, Indy, was allegedly struck by one of the chairs. Taylor pleaded guilty to aggravated assault. In light of the newly released video, they made the decision to not move forward with the new season of The Bachelorette. So then people obtained a statement from Taylor. They say Taylor is very grateful for ABC's support. She prioritizes her family's safety and security after years of silently suffering extensive mental and physical abuse, as well as threats of retaliation. Taylor is finally gaining the strength to face her accuser and taking the steps to ensure that she and her family are protected from any further harm. Taylor's statement continued, "There are too many women who are suffering in silence as they survive aggressive, jealous ex-partners who refuse to let them move on with their lives. She is currently exploring all of her options, seeking support, and preparing to own and share her story." What are your thoughts on the Taylor Frankie Paul situation, them canceling the Bachelorette season because of that video? Look, I mean, obviously, I don't know the details. One thing that's interesting to me, it's like, I feel like what she's saying in her statement, she's not really taking any accountability in her statement for throwing chairs, hitting her daughter, which is very strange to me, because even if you're abused and this was reactive abuse, which I believe that it probably was, you know, it looks to me that like they were probably both mentally ill and maybe had alcohol abuse situation. It looks like it was volatile on both sides. At least that's what she's saying. But I think she should have taken accountability. But I saw a video saying that it looks like reactive abuse. Like, what did he do before? And it doesn't justify it. It's so dangerous. She should not have thrown anything. She should not have hit him. It's just never okay. It's wrong. And that is abuse, what she did. So let's get that straight. But someone said it looked like reactive abuse. Like, what did he do before he started filming? And why did he keep filming rather than, like, once she threw the first punch or chair, if you can see that Taylor is out of her mind, she's seeing red, she's acting psychotic, get your kids and get out. Get out. Get the out. You know? Call the police. don't keep filming. I think he filmed for way too long. And then it wasn't until like the third stool or whatever that it hit the kids. So it's like, dude, once you see she's spiraling and dangerous, get your kids and get out of there because she's not well. But then I'm also curious, what happened before the camera started rolling? I just am curious because it was definitely a very toxic situation here. And I find it weird that she didn't acknowledge what she did, but just talks about how he's abusing her. And he probably is. And he probably saw her moving on, about to, like, dude, kind of malicious too, to see that she's like about to, her season is about to air of The Bachelor. They already filmed the whole thing. And then he just posts this video out knowing that it's going to completely ruin her. Like that's kind of fucked up behavior too. Again, does not make what Taylor did okay. That's horrible, abusive, and wrong. But also him, like, okay, bro, you're going to wait on this video that you've had since 2023. This wasn't like, this is what abuse looks like, or maybe he just like couldn't stand that his abuser is getting to be on a show because he doesn't think she has the right. I don't know. I'm curious your thoughts on the whole thing. It's a mess. I feel really sorry for their children. And it's just so clear in that video. She is completely has no control. Like she's completely seeing red. It's scary, very scary, the video. And I do wonder what led up to that. You don't just spiral like that for no reason. And I'm just curious. But I also looked at the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and I was like kind of outraged that people were just totally team Johnny and like Amber Heard as the devil. No, bro, she was toxic as fuck. Yeah, they both were. They both were. And like there were videos of Johnny throwing and screaming, but everyone was like, no, Amber's the worst. It's Amber. We love Johnny. He's too charismatic to do that. So you saw videos of Johnny Depp being abusive, yet you stayed here and vilified or villainized Amber Heard. But now this Taylor, you're not, it seems like the world's against her. And again, horrific. Very interesting stuff. And then there's like, she had a record, right? So why was she allowed to be on The Bachelor? Taylor Frankie Paul had a record. Why was she allowed to go on The Bachelor? That's a really good point. If it was a man, we would never see that. Really? How about our president? How about Johnny Depp? How about Brad Pitt? He has domestic assault allegations. He's still working around. How about Shia LaBeouf, huh? He was beating FKA Twigs and then got to do a whole redemption tour. And oh my God, he's the best. Everyone makes mistakes. Men are responsible for what is it? 85, 90% of the violent crimes in this country? Beating, murdering, abusing women, and they get forgiven. And they get work. And then we see a woman do this and we're completely outraged. And if a man did this, never. Chris Brown. Ridiculous. Anyway, life's going pretty good though. Yeah, and I had a similar experience, obviously. I mean, it was not to this, but just domestic abuse in general. I mean, it was years of very scary shit. And, I didn't, believe it or not, I didn't actually ask for mine to go public, but it did, and okay, so it's all out there. And so I talk about it because it's all out there. So it is what it is. It happens all the time. I think from my case being so public, the silver lining of that was so many women commented and reached out being like, me too, me too, me too, me too. And I was able to write a book about my experience, which was really cool. And I hope it helps many, many women, Might as well, right? I think addiction too is responsible for, of course it's mental health stuff, but I feel like people in their addiction, like my ex, when he was in his addiction, I did not recognize that person. I was like, who is that? He looked different, spoke differently, treated us differently. It was so scary and so jarring. Yeah, dude, it's wild, man. There's such an epidemic. Apparently now rehabs are way more full, way more deaths. It's just like, I don't know what it is. Maybe we're just all moving too fast, with social media, and people are just in fight or flight all the time now. Okay, sorry, this took a little dark turn, but I just wanted to talk about it. See what you thought. Okay, let's see what else. My daughter wants to be a comedian now. She's like, I want to be a comedian. I said, all right. She goes, you're performing tonight, right? She's 4, by the way. She goes, you're performing tonight, right? I said, yeah. She goes, do you mind doing a couple jokes? Doing a couple of my jokes? I said, what are they? What are they, Poppy? She's 4. She goes, write this down. She goes, what is the silliest cow? I said, what? She said, poop fart. She goes, laugh! And I was like, she's like, write this down. I'm not done. How many ducks went past the street? I said, how many? She said, 100 fart fart. I said, okay. That's good. Thank you. I think we got enough. She goes, I'm not done. Write this down. How many cats went by? How many? They fart on the street. There's a theme here. There's a theme here with her jokes. So then I try to help her out a little. I try to help her with structure, try to teach her about, picking a topic, picking an attitude to support that topic, building a premise, and then giving it a nice punchline. I try to teach her a bit of joke structure. And I said, why don't you talk about what it's like being a 4-year-old? Being a 4-year-old is silly, okay? Being a 4-year-old is silly because, and she says, because they're pooping. So I think I'm going to do these tonight. I'm just going to see how maybe they'll kill. Maybe it'll kill. Maybe it'll kill. What else is going on? My entire family is coming first week in June. Entire family. I'm talking my mom. I'm talking my daddy. I'm talking my sister Colleen. I'm talking her 3 kids. I'm talking my sister Tracy. I'm talking her 2 kids. I got 9 motherfucking family members coming in my house. My house the first week in June. So exciting. It's going to be complete mayhem, chaos. And I'm here for it. Clock it. As the Gen Z say, clock it. Gen Z thinks millennials are so cringe. Y'all just be picking on us for every little thing we do. Millennial pause. Is that funny? It is a little. The other thing Gen Z picks on millennials for, have you heard about this? The millennial smile. Have you guys heard about the millennial smile? This is it. It's very hard for me to do because I have an overbite. So I don't tend to smile with my mouth shut because my upper teeth get in the way. I've got an overbite. Hold on. That's just a closed mouth smile. Why are you talking, Gen Z? This is just a closed mouth. How do you close mouth smile? You guys go like this. No, wait, what do? You do something stupid. No, you don't. You don't do that. You do something dumb. I know you do. But millennial smile, that's just a closed mouth smile. It's like, what's wrong with that? How do you close mouth smile? Yeah, because I have an overbite. And I'm debating getting braces. Should I get braces? Yes or no? Any old people get braces? Because I'm really considering it. I tried Invisalign. It's not just the overbite. It's also a snaggletooth here. And I'm worried about the crowding. Like, are they just going to keep getting worse? Is it going to cause problems, real problems in my mouth? I don't want mouth problems. So I'm debating braces because I'm not disciplined enough for Invisalign. I've tried Invisalign 2 times, maybe 3. Spent thousands of dollars only to not wear them consistently enough, and my teeth went right back. So I need braces. I cannot be allowed to take them off. If I have a choice, I'm going to take them off. So I'm considering. It's not just the overbite, it's the crowding. I like the crooked, the character. It's cute, but if it's going to cause issues in my teeth, that's not cute. One time I dated this guy, and he was like, do you want to be my mom? And I was like, all right. We had been dating like a couple weeks. And I went to his mom's house, and I went, hi, how are you? I'm Laura. And she goes, you know you have an overbite, right? Who the says that? What an actual psychopath. Must have been one of those weird, emotional, incestuous relationships, and she felt threatened by me because I was another woman. Cause what? I'm sorry. She opened the door. I go, hi, I'm Laura. Big smile. She goes, you know you have an overbite, right? I'm sorry. Are you on crack? Sherry, have you taken methamphetamine this morning? Because what? Did you have bath salts for breakfast? Because who in their right mind says that to a person they just met? Am I just being Midwest, or is that psychotic? And then I had a photographer. And this one, all right, maybe this one was a little more not so out of the blue. I was like 18. I was getting headshots. I had dark chocolate brown hair with thick bangs and a bob. It was a bob, dark brown bob with thick bangs. And I was taking all these pictures, headshots, cheesy, leaning against trees with tank tops on, just like, hire me in your sitcom. And the photographer was like, yeah, you have an overbite. Okay. What? Did you want to do something about it right now? Are you an orthodontist? Because now I just am afraid to open my mouth for the rest of the shoot. She was like, you have an overbite. All right, keep going. She's like, why are you so small? All right, lean down. She's like, oh, your skin looks super dry. Keep going, girl. Work it. She's like, your hair looks like a mushroom. Yes, big smile. Big smile. She's like, do you have a lazy eye? Good. Now give me profile. She's like, I think I see camel toe. Great. Bend over. I like that she shoots like this. She wasn't a professional photographer. I found her on Craigslist. She was $45. I don't know. I just found that comment unnecessary. And I brought my gay best friend Jack, and she loved him. She was like, all right. Like, she didn't like me. I don't know. And she's like, yeah, you have an overbite. You're ugly. Keep going. Big smile. Ugly. And then she was like, do you want to get in? And Jack, my friend Jack, he's like just visiting from Chicago. He's like, okay, sure. And he gets in and she's like, oh my God, gorgeous. Yes, this is so cute. Oh my God. And she did like half the photos were just of him and I. And these are my headshots. I paid money for those. And she like loved him, ate him up. Great teeth, by the way. Thank you. I don't know. I don't really have much more. I feel really grateful. Life is really good right now. I feel grateful. My kids are doing well. They're finally better. They had a 14-day cold. 14 days. Poppy's still coughing, but tail end. I took them to the doctor. They got tested for RSV and, strep and all the thing. And they just said it's a virus that's 10 to 14 days long, a cold virus. And it was just this lot. Anyone else experience that? Oh my God. I felt terrible for them. They were so lethargic, coughing all the time. But now back in school, they're happy. I'm not trying to brag, but we live in Los Angeles and we're already swimming. The pool's on and ready to go. And we're living in that pool, having a great time. I don't know. I just feel incredibly grateful for my life. My kids are so amazing. Got great friends. My family's coming into town. I'm performing live. Life is good. And how's your life? And I'm just grateful today. And I'm grateful for all of you. And thank you for listening to me rant today. And until next week, I love you guys. And as always, please write in the comments 5 things you're happy and grateful for, because it's really hard to be pissed off and grateful at the same time. It's almost impossible. Stick our head through there. All right, bye. Millennial smile.